Hi friends, I'm Casey May and this is Yoga for You. Before we get started, I just want to say that my heart goes out to anyone and everyone that has been affected by the coronavirus. This is a very hard time for our entire world, and my hope is that this practice of yoga can help us all find a little bit of peace, a little bit of hope, and just remind us to focus on all the love that's happening, the support from communities, the love from our neighbors, and knowing that we're all in this together. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So to begin our practice, we're just going to take a comfortable seated position. Any kind of seated position. You can have the legs crossed, you could sit up on a blanket, or you could even sit back on the heels. But we just want to make sure that we're sitting tall here. Maybe loosen up those shoulders a little bit. We store a lot of tension, a lot of stress in our shoulders. So just working them out a little bit here, making some quick circles, and then releasing them down. Closing the eyes, sinking into those sits bones. We'll just take in a few breaths. Maybe inhaling through the nose. And exhaling, sigh it out. Just noticing what's going on in the body. Taking a mental scan of where those tight spots are. Noticing how the breath is doing right here. Knowing that with every exhale, we can release, we can make new, get a fresh start. Setting your intention here, just reminding yourself to focus on the light, the love, the hope for our world. Knowing that we are all in this together. Take a few more breaths here, just focusing on that intention of love. We'll slowly bring the chin down to the chest. On your next exhale, just getting a nice stretch in the neck. Maybe interlacing those fingers on top, deepening the stretch here. Noticing how the back of the neck feels today. And unlacing those fingers, we're going to bring the right ear over to the right shoulder. Stretching out the side of the neck, maybe placing that right hand on top to deepen. You could even gently tilt the chin down, just to get a different part of the neck to stretch. Removing that hand, bringing the chin back down, and then left ear over to the left shoulder. Same thing on this side, maybe placing that one hand on top, deepening, and then tilting the chin down. Releasing your hand, we'll come back to neutral, and then just start to make some circles with those shoulders. So just noticing if they're a little bit more stiff than usual. Switching directions here. Still sitting nice and tall. We'll drop them back down and then interlace the fingers behind the low back. So we're pressing those shoulders together, really opening up the heart here. Pressing into your sits bones, and maybe this is enough stretch. If you want to go a little bit deeper, you can gently begin to fold forward. Just until everything seems to stop. if there's room, you can press those hands up towards the ceiling, deepening the shoulder stretch. Breathing here. Just drop those hands back down to the low back. Inhale, rising up. And then releasing those fingers. Once again, making some shoulder circles. Nice job. Dropping them down. We're going to walk that right hand out beside us. So just walking it out a little bit. Reaching your left arm up high. As you exhale, bending that right elbow. Reaching through the left fingertips, side body stretch. So really reaching here. Opening up your side body. Inhale, let's come back up, reaching through both hands. Exhale, switching to the other side. Reaching through those right fingertips, bending that left elbow, opening up this side. Beautiful. Inhaling up. This time as you exhale, we're cactusing the arms. So bending those elbows, pressing the shoulders and shoulder blades together here, pushing the chest towards the front of the room. Maybe you look up at the ceiling, just opening your heart, stretching those shoulders. One more breath. Exhale, bring those hands behind the low back. Once again, opening the heart. Exhale, folding forward. Pressing the hands up high if this feels okay. One breath here. Slowly release the hands down. Inhale, rising up. Unlace those fingers. Bringing the hands to the knees. We're going to take some seated cat-cows. So placing those hands on the knees if they're not already there. As you inhale, we're going to press our chest towards the front of the room, arching the back, gazing up at the ceiling. As you exhale, rounding that back, looking down at the belly. So taking a few more at your own pace. Inhaling to that seated cow. Exhaling to seated cat. Few more times. Keep breathing. Keep focusing on that intention of love, gratitude, support, encouragement. Coming back to neutral once you're complete. We're going to bring our hands down to the mat. So making your way into a tabletop position. Making your way into that tabletop position, making sure your hands are right below the shoulders, knees are hip-width distance apart. We're going to start here by making some gentle circles with the hips. So these can be big circles or small circles. We're just gently waking up the spine, starting slow here. Switching directions. And meeting back at the middle, getting ready for some cat-cows. So as you inhale, we're going to drop the belly, gaze up at the ceiling. As you exhale, press the earth away from you, round the back. Look down between the knees. Inhaling to cow pose. And exhaling to cat. So moving at your own pace. You can make this movement slow or a little bit faster, just whatever feels best. Feeling free to make any other organic movements, shifting those hips side to side, maybe taking a few more circles with the hips. Just whatever feels good here, whatever helps wake up that spine. We're going to meet back at our neutral tabletop. So hands are right below those shoulders, knees still below the hips. we're going to flip our left palm. So our fingertips are pointed in. Stretching out the wrist here. So maybe this is enough stretch for you. You could also send those hips back slightly just to deepen. We rarely ever stretch out our wrists, so just noticing how this feels for you. And flipping that hand back over, but fingertips are still pointed into the body. So stretching out this side of the wrist, pressing those hips back, just noticing how this feels. And bringing that hand back to neutral tabletop position here, getting ready for that other side. So flipping your right palm, fingertips pointed back, sending those hips back if that feels okay. And then flipping the palm back over, fingertips still pointed in, sending those hips back, stretching this side of the wrist. Coming back to neutral. We're going to take our knees out just a little bit wider, bringing our big toes to touch. And then send your hips back for a child's pose. So a couple of options for child's pose. Your arms can be out in front of you. They can also be down by the sides, or even at the base of the neck in prayer position. So any variation of child's pose here, just surrendering the heart. Forehead is connected with the earth. 3 full breaths here, inhaling through the nose. And as you exhale, sigh it out, letting go, releasing. On your next inhale, we're going to come up with a cat rounded back, pushing through to hammock pose. So just our knees and our hands are on the mat. Toes are pointed up towards the ceiling. We're opening up the heart here. So you can take that gaze up high. Inhaling. Exhale, send it back to child's pose. Taking a few more at your own pace. Inhaling to that hammock position. Heart is open, low back releases. Exhale, send it back to child's. Inhaling to hammock. And exhaling to child's pose a few more times. Moving at your pace, using your breath. Beautiful. We're all going to meet back in a tabletop. So hands below those shoulders, knees below the hips. And from here, we're going to reach our right arm up high, reaching through our right fingertips. And as you exhale, thread that right arm underneath the left, bringing the right cheek down to the mat. So you could walk the left arm out or wrap it around you, whatever feels better here. Just noticing how the body feels. We're taking 5 full breaths. Unwrapping that arm, using it to press you back up, reaching through our right fingertips. Exhale, releasing down, making some little micro movements, maybe stretching out those wrists once again, maybe taking some circles, just whatever feels good for your body here. When you're ready, we're going to meet back at that tabletop, getting ready for the other side. So reaching our left arm up high. And then exhale, threading it under the right, bringing that right cheek or left cheek, excuse me, down to the mat. Walking this arm out or wrapping it around you. 5 full breaths on this side. Checking back in with that intention. And then unwrapping the arm, using it to press you back up. Reaching through those left fingers. Exhale, releasing down. Meeting back in that tabletop, but this time we're curling our toes underneath, sending our hips up for a downward facing dog. So we're not going to take very many down dogs today in this practice. This flow is more about just getting some nice stretches here. So just noticing how the legs are feeling in your down dog. Maybe bending one knee then the other. Stretching out the body. Maybe just shifting those hips side to side. But making sure you're still pressing into the palms here. If you want to check your down dog, you could press forward to that high plank and then move back. You shouldn't have to move your hands or feet. Just taking a few more little movements. And then when you're ready, we're going to bring our right ankle behind our left wrist for a pigeon pose. So, in pigeon pose, making sure that that back leg is straight behind you. Hips are square to the ground. If you feel like there's a big gap in between your hip and the ground, you could always grab a pillow and just shove it right underneath that hip to give you some support. So, sitting up tall here, making sure those hips are square to the ground. You can stay here. You could also walk those hands out, bringing the forearms down to the ground. Maybe even placing a pillow underneath the forearms. Could release the head here. And just breathing into this hip, creating some space. Clearing out any tension or stress that we might have stored in the body. Three more breaths here. When you're ready, beginning to walk those hands in towards the body, coming to seated back up here in your pigeon pose. We're going to open up our heart. And as you exhale, bending the elbows, surrendering. So inhale, rising up. And exhale, surrender, taking a few more at your pace. Beautiful. Keep breathing. One more. Meeting in that pigeon pose. Pressing into the palms here. Sending that right foot back into your down dog. Making those little micro movements. And then getting ready for the other side. So bringing our left ankle behind the right wrist. Making sure that back leg is straight behind you. Hips are square to the ground. And then staying here or walking the hands out. Coming to forearms, settling into whatever variation you need today. Breathing here. Creating space. Every exhale, letting go. Every inhale, bringing focus back to your intention. Breathing in love, encouragement, hope, and positivity. When you're ready, you will slowly walk those hands back in towards the body, making sure they're about the same distance as the width of your mat. Opening up the heart here, exhaling, surrender. So moving at your pace, inhaling, opening the heart, exhale, letting go. A few more using your breath. Releasing whatever it is you need to release. Maybe it's fear of the unknown. Maybe it's just stress in general. Letting that go with every exhale. Meeting on an inhale with that heart lifted, and then placing the weight into the palms, sending your leg back into a down dog. Stretching it out once again here, making those micro movements. And then bringing the knees down to the mat, big toes to touch, sending it back once again, child's pose. From here, we're going to walk our hands. We're going to slowly walk our hands out another inch or two, tenting those fingertips. So just getting a nice stretch in the shoulders, maybe shifting side to side here. And then on your next exhale, walking those hands over to the right side, stretching out your side body, opening up. 2 full breaths. Exhaling back to center. And then over to the other side. 2 breaths on this side. Coming back to center. Gonna get ready to take a few more hammock to child's pose movements. So as you inhale, coming up with that cat rounded back, pressing through to hammock. Heart is lifted. Exhaling to child's. Inhaling to hammock, moving at your pace. Two more rounds of breath here. You got it. When you're complete, we're gonna meet seated back on the heels. So if being seated on the heels isn't comfy, you can take any other seated position. Just making sure that the spine is straight once again, maybe making some circles with those shoulders, allowing them to just release. And then we're going to make some circles with the head. So just releasing any tight spots in that neck. You want to avoid cracking and popping noises here. So this is just a really slow movement. Giving us an idea of where those places of tension are in the neck. Allowing us to work them out here gently. And switching directions. Sitting up nice and tall here, relaxing those shoulders down. And then inhale, reaching the arms up high. As you exhale, twisting to the right side, keeping the spine long. Maybe you take that gaze back behind you. Inhale, coming up, reaching. Exhale, twisting to the other side. So taking a few more at your pace, keeping that spine lengthened throughout this movement. Exhaling to your twist. And inhaling, reaching high. Beautiful work. Keep breathing. 2 more rounds of breath here. Meeting on an inhale, reaching those arms high. Exhale, cactusing those arms just like we did at the beginning of our practice, opening up that heart. Exhale, bring those hands behind you, interlacing the fingers, press that heart forward. Exhale, folding forward. If there's room, pressing the hands up towards the ceiling, stretching those shoulders once again. Exhale, release the hands to the low back. Inhale, rising up. We're gonna bring our legs out in front of us. So staff pose here. So you can keep a slight bend in the knees, but our feet are flexed and our spine is straight. As you inhale, reaching the arms up high, and then hinging at your hips, keeping the spine as straight as you can, folding forward. When everything seems to stop, release those hands down. We're going to keep flexing the feet, so pointing those toes back at the chest, pressing the chest towards the toes, keeping that micro bend in your knees, and then release the head down. Just noticing where you feel this stretch. As you inhale, reaching those arms out, elbows by the ears, slowly unfolding. And exhale, releasing the hands down by the sides. Nice job. We're going to bring the soles of the feet to the mat. You may need to inch forward so you're closer to the top of your mat. Sitting up nice and tall here, making sure that heart is lifted, and as you exhale, releasing down one vertebrae at a time. Reconnecting the spine with the earth here, letting the shoulders just hang heavy. Completely sinking in. And if it feels okay, you can start to rock those knees from side to side. This will just help release the lower back. Maybe pausing on one side, taking those arms out into a T and getting a nice spinal twist here. Or you can just keep with the fluid movement side to side. And coming back to that neutral position, bringing the arms back down by the sides. We're going to walk the feet in towards the glutes. Getting ready for a bridge pose. So pushing into your feet here, making sure they're hip width distance apart. We're going to lift the hips up towards the ceiling. Maybe stack those shoulders underneath you, interlacing the fingers here. But keep pressing into the feet, engaging the glutes and sending those hips high. We'll be here for 5 breaths. On your last exhale, unlacing the fingers, slowly releasing back down. Once again, connecting that spine to the earth. Letting go. And then bringing your knees into the chest. You can rock side to side here to massage out the low back. Or even just find stillness, giving yourself a squeeze, maybe bringing that forehead up towards the knees. If it feels okay, you can take a happy baby, grabbing the outsides of the feet, opening up those hips, moving side to side, or just staying still, noticing how those hips are doing. They say if you only have time for one yoga pose, this is the one you should do. Taking a few more breaths in your happy baby. And whenever you're complete, we're going to bring those knees back into the chest, giving yourself another squeeze here, sending yourself some gratitude, some love, thanking yourself for making this time for you today. And then bringing those feet down to the mat. We're going to take our knees out wide, soles of the feet to touch for a reclined goddess pose. You can place one hand on the belly here, one hand on the heart. Just reconnecting body, breath, mind. Knowing that we are all connected. Just settling in here, noticing as your belly rises and falls, the heart beats against the chest. Just knowing that right here, right now, we are all connected and we are all in this together. Softening everything here. You're welcome to stay here for Shavasana or extend the legs out long, arms out by the sides. Just any position that allows you to become fully comfortable, to fully release, to let go. Allowing the body to relax all those tiny muscles, the toes and the fingers, the abdomen, the shoulders, the neck, crown of the head, softening the eyelids, the tongue, and the jaw. Allowing yourself to just be right here. Soaking in all the love. Breathing in Shavasana. Slowly begin to come back to the surface, wiggling toes, wiggling fingers, deepening the breath, and maybe taking a full body stretch. Whenever you feel ready, turning over to your favorite side. Taking your time to get there. There's no need to rush. Remembering that intention of love. Focus on the love. Using your hands to guide you, slowly press up to seated, keeping the eyes closed. And once you've arrived here, we'll bring the palms together at the heart, thumbs resting on the chest. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are all connected. We are all in this together. The light in me honors the light in each and every one of you. Namaste.